Welcome back to Onio Way. I'm going to do something different today. I am going to do what's called a SWOT analysis of my life. And it's going to help me create goals for the next year coming up and just get organized and get into a mindset that I think will further me and progress me just in general for the next year. So we'll give it a shot. Let's see if this helps. And I'm going to get a little personal. So this is my first time kind of talking more about me within the channel. All right, so open it up. I'm going to flip to my notes section, and I'm going to use this to do my SWOT analysis on. First up, I'm going to make my little quadrant here. You need 4 sections to do a SWOT analysis. So for a SWOT, you need strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I'm just using natural lighting for this video. It's very shadowy. I like the vibe. I'm interested what you guys think. So let me know if the lighting bothers you in the comments. I like the moodiness of it. Okay, so I did some kind of deep diving into myself, right? And so what I've decided for strengths, so we're starting on a positive here. This is somewhat to do with myself and somewhat to do just with my life in general right now. And I've got some awesome strengths. I have a stable home that I'm providing, so that's great, and that's something to not take for granted. I'm a dependable person. Another one I thought of was I manage the home, and that's a strength that I have. But just in general, I'm keeping track of appointments, of bills, of everything going on within the house, within our home. So that's a strength of mine. We have savings, which especially in this economy is a huge strength. And I am a creative problem solver, which helps a lot with just different things that pop up within life. Okay, so these are what are going to help me kind of overcome some of these other boxes or help me with my goals. So we start with that. All right, I'm starting with that. Now I'm going to flip to the opposite side and I'm going to go right to weaknesses. And right now within my life, I feel weak physically. I grew up an athlete. Nothing crazy, nothing professional, but I've been in sports since elementary school, right? So, and I played sports in college, and I stayed active out of college. And I think definitely since having my son, and he's almost 3, that has declined a lot. I also was in the military, so I've been very active my whole life. And I just feel very weak, and I have gained weight, of course, but it's also just my muscles aren't there the way they used to be. My body isn't the same. I don't need it to be back to the way it was. I want to be able to do push-ups again. I want to be able to, I don't know, just be stronger. So I just feel physically weak, and that's something that I really want to tackle and admit and get over and get back to feeling me as a part of that. So I think a lot of couples may relate to this, and I have a wonderful husband, a wonderful marriage, but there are issues, right? And something that I think is a weakness in my life right now is communication. And that's something my husband and I have finally admitted that we need to work on. And I think especially with a young child and having that change in our life, it's created just different emotions that have made it harder to communicate with each other. I've heard this is common. I hope it's common. So it's just something that I, again, am facing in 2025, and we are facing, and we need to work on. I'm distracted a lot, I feel like, and unmotivated at times. I think a lot of people are. I hope anyway. I'm hoping that if you're watching, you can relate and, Any support within the comments is always welcome, but also you don't have to comment if it's something you can relate to. Hey, we're in it together. So that's something that I see as a weakness in myself that I want to address this year. And a sense of community, right? I had lots of great friends in high school and college, and then I joined the military and I was a little bit older. The difference between 19 and 22 is not a lot numerically, but it feels like a lot mentally and emotionally. So I had friends, but it just wasn't the same. I felt like I couldn't get as close to anyone as I did before. I just didn't relate. And then I met my husband, so that was great, but he is still active duty, so we move constantly. And so we we don't have that sense of community. Like our families aren't near us where we live, and we don't have long time friends near us because we didn't grow up close to where we're living. And so it's been hard to find that, village to help, especially when you have a kid. And I really want to work on that. And I don't want it to just be online. I want it face to face. I'd like to be able to meet up with someone for coffee. All right, so some opportunities I'm looking forward to possibly create some change. I'd like a new job. Um, my job is great in so many ways, so I'm not gonna like quit or run away from it anytime soon. It's just it requires travel, and that puts a strain on my life right now. And when it comes to work life balance, there's a lot going on with my life when it comes to not just being a mom, but also like family members are sick, and we're trying to travel to visit people, and it just takes a lot out of your life. And as much as work is flexible in so many other ways, just that little bit of traveling once a quarter just puts a dent in things. So if it's possible to find a job, and I know they're out there, so if it's possible to get hired for a job that offers the same flexibility this one does, but doesn't have the travel, I'm going to grab it. I'm going to take it as much as I can. And so another opportunity, which will contradict everything I just said in some ways, is I want another child. I grew up an only child. I grew up with a single mom, so it was just me and her. We were kind of like the Gilmore Girls. It was cool, but she had me older, not young, so it wasn't 100% like Gilmore Girls. But as she gets older, or my Nana just recently passed away, so I can foresee when my mom gets to that age, 100% everything is on me. And she knows that too, so we've talked about that a little bit of what we would do if she were to, be in the same state as my Nana. But if I can, I would love to provide my child with siblings to not only take care of us when we're older, but have someone to talk to about us, me and my husband. Because so many times growing up, I had no one else to talk to about my mom when we were disagreeing and all this stuff. It was just me and her butting heads, like, those teenage years. So I just think I could go on and on about the pros and cons, but the reality is, I would like to provide another child, another sibling, not just for myself, but for my son, for my family. I think having children is a blessing in some ways and is something I really enjoyed parts of, you know? And I just see it as such a positive to have more than one in our future for my life. You know, I mentioned that we have savings financially in my strengths. So, with everything going on, I'd like to figure out a long term financial goal that includes a charity of some sort. Small. I mean, we don't have that much savings, but it's something that, looking around, I do feel fortunate to have two incomes, and we're both two good, ambitious professionals in decent paying jobs so that we are able to be a solid middle class with two incomes. Now, if we go down to one income, which is one of my threats, who knows what'll happen with trying to find a new job or trying to get pregnant. Those don't go well together, right? As far as opportunities, but there are two things I want. And so I'm just going to put them down on the paper and we're going to see what happens in life. I'm going to make the decisions as they come. And my goal is that they'll all work out, depending on timing, right? But the threat is if we lose an income for a time, is it a long-term loss of income? Is it a short-term loss of income? Who knows? That's just a threat that could come up in our lives based on our strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities. Another thing that threatens any of this or life just in general is illness or injury. And not just with myself or my husband, but also our extended family. But the reality is this will always be a threat. But at the same time, it's good to recognize and be able to have, enough savings or be strong enough mentally to handle emergencies. It's not just about money, it's also about your mental health. And then another thing I'm going to put on here, I mentioned my husband's active duty military. There's a lot going on in the world, and the threat of war is there always. Lately, it seems to be heightened. That's the last threat I have on there. So this is my SWOT analysis for my life right now: strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. I think it's great to kind of lay your life out in a sense like this. I could take this and I could see how, having a stable home could lead to another child. I could see how savings would help with a loss of income, and how being physically weak is connected to the threat of illness or injury, right? And then having a new job, could help with my distracted / unmotivated characteristics because I'd be inspired. Now I want to do something for goals. I'm going to use the back of my SWOT analysis. Now I want to use sticky notes just because it's fun. Based on my SWOT analysis, I have 3 goals. So goal 1 is a mindset goal. I really want to focus on what goes right. So this will help in the sense that it'll continue to provide a stable home. I think it'll help a lot with communication and being distracted. It'll help a lot with any decisions I have to make in this journey of not only wanting another child, but wanting a new job, right? And the threats, having a mindset that's focusing on what's going right is going to help me not be discouraged by any threats that are possible throughout the year, right? Because they're going to happen. Bad things are going to happen. And you can't let it completely derail you. You just pivot and you focus on what goes right. And then goal number 2, we had a number sign up here. This is going to be a quantitative goal. Did I spell that right? A-T-I-V-E. If I spelled it wrong, oh well. Right, quantitative goal, and I want it to be 300 days of movement. And so I can achieve this by filling out trackers, and then a 300 chart. And goal number 3. This is an achievement goal. So this one I think is going to be my hardest one, and that's going to be to join a local group. It seems silly that I think this will be my hardest one, but finding a group that meets in person and sticking to that group and going and creating friends, that just feels like it would be the hardest one. I have to have time to commit to it. I have to have energy. I need to have social stamina. Those are all things that require accomplishing this goal. And it requires being open to people, to relationships. That's all very hard. Okay, and so to do this, I would look on social media for a start. Focus on hobbies. So, that I want to get better at. Maybe gardening. Could be a workout group. That could help with goal number 2. You never know. So, yeah. That was my SWOT analysis into some goal setting for 2025. I hope this kind of method helps if you're still watching and if you're interested. But yeah, this is going right into my planner one of my planners for 2025. So I'm going to go right into this one. This is where I have my notes and my weekly setup. And I'm just going to kind of add it right here. And it's just going to be there all year. And every once in a while, I'll look at it and I'll be able to kind of assess where I'm at and what I'm doing within my life to kind of help with these goals. And this is completely separate from my to-dos. So I have a list of things I want to get done in 2025, but they're not at the core of what's going to really change me or have me grow as a person. They're just, things to fix around the house or projects to finish, like photo albums or home movies, or just, even a little bit of unpacking that we still haven't done from a year ago. Things like that are just to-dos. Accomplishing them, I'm not going to grow as a person in any way from that. But this, having a SWOT of my life and then 3 goals based on that are a little bit, more in depth, I hopefully will have some growth throughout the year from doing this. I think I will. Yep, that's my Onio way of tackling 2025 and growing as a person. A little bit more personal in this one, not quite as peppy, but just a different video that I hope is helpful, and I hope you enjoy, and I'll see you in the next one. Thank you for watching. Bye.